Hi Kunkana, hi Emraan, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Imran, you've done films like Raz, but you were saying this one has taken supernatural to another level.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I've always had a strong liking towards supernatural horror films, and Raz changed things in a way with 3D experience.
Yeah.
It's very immersive and a different kind of mass horror entertainer. I think what this does, it kind of tries to get in a wider chunk of the audience with the appeal of horror, a psychological feel that is more classy in its treatment, and just the VFX and a completely new horror experience.
Kunkana, you've done a variety of roles, so is this the most spooky thing you've done?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
My first, supernatural thriller. And I was very excited because I've often done characters who are, quite boring because they're very good and very, very kind of straightforward and earnest and all of that. But in this film, I think because we wanted to keep that suspense of who's the Diane, so all the characters have, shades of grey.
Yeah. Do you believe in magic?
I believe in trickery.
Okay.
I believe that you can fool a person through visuals and through if you're intelligent enough and you can play with those visuals, you can fool them into believing things. And I've seen it happen with me. I've seen people do things and then turn around and tell me how it's done, and they had me fooled for those 5 minutes when they did the trick. And you can't question that. I mean, it's there, and it's like, well, how did you do it? And you can't even think of how they did it. And then when they tell you how they done it, it's the most basic thing,
Has anyone cast a spell on you, Kunkana? Anyone like
Romantically or otherwise? Not that I'm aware of.
But you believe in magic? Do you believe in?
In supernatural kind of magic, or because magic is, the best magicians, it's just sleight of hand.
Imran, for a first, your film has a UA certificate. What was the reaction to that?
Threw a party, God, this guy got a UA certificate. That was like, I didn't think in my wildest dreams that would happen. But I think I have early on in my career. I don't know how, it was kind of a mistake that suddenly I got a UA certificate. But then after like 9 years, this film happened. But what's good about this film is that it's got all the elements that people would expect from my film.
But there were reports in the papers today about how the film will not be releasing single-screen theatres, and your films have really worked well in single-screen theatres. So what's your reaction to that? Do you think we'll lose out on audiences?
Well, I think there's a slight division. It's not releasing in a couple of single screens, but they've factored that in with some other theatres. So eventually it's not that much of a problem. Yes, it is. Obviously you'd want it to release in all these theatres, but there are a few films that have kind of proved that, in the vicinity, instead of releasing in 4 theatres, you release it in 2 concentrated theatres. And the audience kind of is jam-packed in those theatres and they come to see that film, because if you have a good film, they'll probably travel a bit to see that film.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the case is.
How was it working with someone like Vishal Bharadwaj, a man with his vision? Kunkana, you worked with him in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I love working with Vishal and his team, so there's no way one can say no to him.
Yeah.
I think he's a great artist. I really admire his aesthetics, his filmmaking, his music. And he and Gulzar Saab have done the music and lyrics for this film also, which is just lovely, fantastic.
What about you, Imran?
I found it very interesting because I have done certain kinds of films, and Vishal, you wouldn't imagine that, we'd probably get together for a film. But I think that's the unique part of this film.
But Vishal was very upset about the controversies about the film, where he had to show the film. I mean, he was asked to show the film to the National Commission for Women, right, I think, after it was passed by censor board.
Yes.
So how did you guys react to that?
I don't think he has.
So he hasn't. He was asked to show.
No, I think it's very right. It's a valid point because your film has been censored. It's got a UA certificate. So if that body has, gone out and said that this film is clear certification for everyone to view it, then, anyone can hold you ransom suddenly before the release, and this generally happens like 14 days before release is happening. We've been doing promos for the past 4 months, with our promotional campaign that started in January, and someone just pops in for 10 days before, and it's just sad because I think it should stop. And this is a very good thing, because if your censor board has given it clearance, no one has a right to question what your film has. I mean, you can question it once you see the film in theatres, but how can you question a film on promos?
Yeah.
You've not seen the film, you don't know what's there in it. And which is showing them in a bad light. It's a fictional film, it's for your entertainment.
No, and then, we have to have only like very squeaky, clean films, and we can't really have fiction. We can just show what we would like our society to be like. That's not what films are. That's not our role.
And that's not necessarily what the society would really want to be like. That's what we think they would want to be like.
Yeah, society is made up of so many different aspects. You know, and the thing is, we can't always show people who don't smoke, who are very good characters, who are never vulgar, who never commit any act of violence, and what will we make?
Absolutely. You know? Yeah. You know, Emraan once in a previous interview said how box office is really important to you. I mean, far more important than critical acclaim. But now you've got a bit of both. So where exactly are you at? I mean, a lot of both.
You know, for me, it was always box office.
Yeah.
I understand critics, you know, it's one person's opinion about a film. But, you know, this is what my take is. I understand what their take is and why they have to be very critical when they find, you know, loopholes in a script or a film or the way the film has been made. But the audience doesn't see that in a film when they go and buy a ticket. And I think I value that more because they spend money. They go and see a film and they may choose to rip it apart or praise it. Because they spend their hard-earned money to go and see it. They don't have a job that they have to kind of, you know, work towards and actually have to criticize to kind of keep that, you know, day in and day out. And if they endorse your film, they come in numbers and your collections show that trend on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That means your film is successful. And most of my films have been ripped by critics and then, you know, the box office numbers.
Not lately.
Okay, fine. Some of them have been ripped, but the ones that have been ripped, they don't show that trend in box office. That means the audience is seeing something else. They don't see the film the way critics see the film.
Now your score is very different. You got a national award very early in your career.
But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. The thing is that there are many different kinds of critics and not all critics are equally good. I don't think it's always, you know, it's two different schools of thinking, like you said. Because films are neither are they just a commercial product and neither are they just a work of art. You know, it's obviously a blend of both. So
but you have done a very good balance. I mean, you know.
I've done films which I've wanted to do and which have been, you know, true to me as a person. So then the rest is, you know, it's not in my hands. So who knows? But of course, both are very important. I do think that critics are important, but you know, I mean, not everybody can be a critic, and you don't have to take every critic seriously.
You know, Emraan, you've always spoken about how you have this greed for, you know, to do more, for success. You have a lot of passion. You're very competitive. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, of course. I'm, you know, with every film, you know, it's just kind of competing with myself, with no one else, for the next film to kind of surpass that as far as the way the film has been made. Pushing the limit as far as probably, you know, my skill set, learning something new on a film, box office being another one, and just being not content with things. The moment you're content, it just kills you as an artist.
It's complacent,
Yeah, extremely, you know, I'm not satisfied with things. When I finish a film, that's it. Friday it goes into public domain. You may choose to do whatever the film. I don't hold on to that. After the Friday, it's not mine. It's your film, and then you may choose to do whatever with that film. I don't hold on to a success on a Saturday, Sunday. I'm as scared when my next film starts to kind of see that through and make that a success.
You know, both of you are fairly unconventional, the kind of movies you'll have done, and you'll have a niche. But even having a niche, you'll kind of get typecast sometimes. Like, Emraan, for you, for the longest time with this erotic thriller, the kissing thing, it just went on and on till you got fed up of it one day. Konkona, you had this very intense roles, a serious thinking woman. So at what point you break away and say, "Bas, this is what, you know, I will do something different"?
You know, I have to say that it's people like Vishal who take these risks and, you know, who are so important to create, nurture, you know, different molds, create new stereotypes. Because nobody else has offered me this kind of a role before. And I'm so grateful to Ek Thi Daayan and Vishal that they, you know, and Kannan, our director, that they thought of me, because I've really enjoyed playing something like this, which is different from what I do. And the thing is that, yeah, not everybody has that kind of vision and imagination. So you do tend to get typecast from time to time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was first 4 years of my career was kind of pretty much doing, boxed in that particular image.
Exactly.
Because what happens is that when you're inexperienced, when you're just kind of given things, and obviously it's also the choices given to you. You can't really go ahead and do something that's not been given to you. The industry is giving you only these many choices, because what happens is the industry never wants you to change. They want you to be and play in the rules of that safety net, because they feel that works, and probably this is a risk, and that's not going to work. So then, out of a lack of choice, I always wanted to do something different, but I was never given the choice.
Being unconventional actors, how tough is it getting accepted? What was it tougher for you, Konkona, when you started out? You know the typical kind of roles, but yet you had your niche, you had your audience, you have your fan following.
You know, I never worried about things like this, honestly. And I still don't, because what can I do? This is not my area. This is not my forte. I don't know. I really don't know. I just kind of do the films which I like. And then what your typecast is and what your branding is and what your image is, that's really outside of your control.
Right.
I just have to do things that are true to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think she said it because you either you kind of conform to what the industry wants you to be, or either you be yourself and then pick up the things that you believe in. And that, very interestingly, if not just when you get it, probably you face a bit of criticism in saying that, oh, this is not how things are done in our industry, and everyone will jump. It's always this sheep herd mentality. Everyone wants to follow. And even if someone is unconventional looking, or they have some unconventional talent, the industry tries to box you up and make you a product of the industry, into those cliches again. But the moment you want to take that risk and say that, no, I'm an individual and I'll do exactly what I want to do, and you step out of that, then probably the payback would not be in the first instance, probably in the long term, people will start seeing that as a very unique thing as part of you. But if you just succumb to the trappings, then you'll be just one of, everyone there.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really care about what people said about you in the industry. But didn't you fear ever being singled out?
No, I love being singled out. I don't like the sheep or the herd mentality. I think it's everyone does it. It's just boring. I like risky films. I generally do films that people tell me not to do. I've done really bizarre things. People have said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I started off with the family concern of a company where they wanted to give me the hero's role, and I did the supporting character. He said, why would you do that? And that's not how you do it. You have like 3 songs in your name, and you have to look in a certain way and you play the hero. I said, I like the supporting character. I think there's more meat there. It's more for me to do there. What's wrong with that? I believe in that. And then, constantly, time and time again, through your career, you'll make decisions where people say, this is not how it's done. But I think you have to go out and just follow your instincts and do it.
Konkan, have you been competitive ever? Or just you enjoy your space and do things at your pace?
I don't think I'm like that as a person. I've never been competitive or terribly ambitious. Though, I mean, I have high standards, which, which is not the same thing. But, and also, you can't really be competitive as an actor because, it's a very difficult thing to quantify. So I don't see how one could be competitive about it.
In the industry, you always keep talking about these trappings of stardom. Did any of you really face any of that? No. Like, one thing is being a star, the other thing is being an actor. You've got to check box a few things to be both. Emraan, what about you?
I don't really know what the definition of a star is anyways. It comes with its own baggage. Absolutely. I would recommend anyone to be an actor, not a star.
Konkan, you always stuck to your ground. I guess you will totally believe in the acting part of it, right?
I have just been the kind of person from, I think, my childhood, but I've always, some of my choices have been, not purposely, but unconventional. I've never really done what is popular. I mean, what is popular is not necessarily always something which is, quality. Not necessarily.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, often it is. What's wonderful is when you have something which is of good quality and it becomes popular because of its, inherent quality. That's wonderful. That is what we should aspire to.
I think being a star is very limited. This is how an actor and a star looks at a script. Right. Probably an actor will see a script and say, how do I change myself to adapt to this on paper? And a star will look at a script and say, how do I change the script around to adapt to myself, to the way the people see me?
Yeah.
Which is again,
opposite of acting.
Yeah, it's exactly, it's extremely myopic, and then you just confine to those things.
Yeah.
So people who only want to play star characters, you'll see them being repetitive because they have to play to a certain image for the audience. They won't step out of that zone. Yeah. And that's getting the money for box office because people like that. But, I don't find any fulfillment in that.
Yeah. Vishal, good luck, and I really hope it turns out to be a scare fest for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.